This is the Lockpicker 1969, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this next episode of Interview with the Lockpicker. Today's guest is Jeppin Things. Say hi.
Hey there.
So, how and when did you get into locksport?
About what are we looking at? 3, 4 years ago, I received a gift package from a friend with all sorts of survival type gear, and in that was a set of lock picks, and I use that term very loosely. They were wires bent kind of like I know now, kind of like a Bogota rake, and there was also a top of the keyway tensioner.
Okay.
I've always been interested in lock picking since a little kid, as many of us do. My grandparents had a book on locksmithing that I had read, and so I took those tools as a kind of a kicking off point. Started talking to some friends that the friend that gave me the set, and learned about some of the YouTube videos to check out. And I started dabbling, making my own tools, doing things with what I had, and it was a very slow start. I was making picks from wiper inserts, making little wallet tools, kind of a combination tensioner and pick. And one thing I definitely learned is starting with small picks is not the best for learning. Really hard on your hands, especially when you're trying to learn the skills, develop the muscles. Um,
Yeah.
but I kept going, I kept experimenting, finding more people, especially on YouTube, that had different ideas of how to make your own gear,
Okay.
and
Cool.
kept going.
So, who were your major influencers from YouTube early on?
The first ones that I was recommended to check out were, of course, Bosnian Bill, Lockpicking Lawyer. Um, I know there were some others, but those were the big ones that I started with, especially with Bosnian Bill having a lot of different DIY videos. I
Yeah.
still remember that one I watched over and over was where he shows how to make your own pick handles, so you could do a quick tip picks. And I made a couple of those out of some chunks of brass that I had around, and went back to the wiper inserts for the pick material itself, which was my first graduation into more of a full size pick as opposed to the little ones that I had been using. And
Okay.
it was a great upgrade. Definitely was happy to learn how helpful a full size handle could be.
Okay. So, I'm sorry if I missed this, but what was your first purchased picking tools?
My first purchased picking tools was probably not until I was 2 or 3 years into it.
Oh, okay.
Um, Finally deciding that I was getting serious enough about all of it. And after agonizing over it and going back and forth, I went with the Sparrow's Spirit set. The fact that it was rather affordable. My wife was going to get it for me for, I think it was my birthday, and so she kind of had a price limit in mind. And so the Spirit set was within that price limit, and I was really jazzed about the fact that it had a lot of different hook shapes in it. I had made my own rakes, but I really wanted to experience professionally made hook profiles of different types.
Yeah, definitely. So, have you branched out from that initial set and how?
So I have branched out some. I won the Kickstarter set from Lock and Kilo, and then after doing that, I got the expansion set just to try a few more profiles. Um, but truthfully, even getting those other profiles, I still go back to the Spirit set with honestly, just three of those four hooks are still my go-to for most of the locks, especially the high Euro hook and the shorter Euro hook are
Hmm.
just my go-to after my homemade picks.
Okay. All right. So, during our pre interview, you talked about poor man's picking. Can you explain what that is?
Sure thing. I have a tendency to collect hobbies, which is
You and me both.
always a little nerve-wracking for my wife. Um, but she's mostly okay with it as long as I am not spending a lot of money on it. Um, Generally speaking, I'm not one that'll spend a lot of money. So for me, when I was getting into picking, the important thing was to keep it cheap as possible. Um,
Frugal.
and
Frugal. Well,
frugal, yes, yes, much better word there. Um, and so when I first started my channel, I realized that that was the unique viewpoint that I could bring to YouTube. How it is possible to have this hobby with low dollar amount to it. The fact that you don't have to get the fanciest locks, that there's a lot of places that you can get locks for cheap or free. The way that you can put together your own tools. I know a lot of different people have that, but kind of a way for me to show my own experiences with making those own tools and learning from my experiences to show other people what you can and maybe shouldn't do when making your own gear.
okay. Well, so speaking of your YouTube channel, what was that like for you getting that going, and where do you see your channel going in the future?
Um, as far as what it was like getting it going, I felt very slow at the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to decide what exactly I had to add because I felt like such a beginner at the beginning, and quite frankly, I still do. But just knowing that I had little tidbits that might help someone was what got me started. As far as where I see it going, I'm kind of getting in a groove where I'm trying to do a shout out at the first Monday of the month, trying to do a little bit of picking, a little bit of gear making throughout. Um, it's nothing big, it's nothing fancy, but there seems to be enough people that enjoy it that I'm going to keep going as long as I've got even a few people that'll come back and watch it.
That's awesome. So, leading out of that, what are your thoughts and feelings about the lockpicking community in general then? And how did you get kind of into and introduced into it?
Um, in a word, generous. The lock picking community, the lock sport community is ridiculously generous.
Yes, it is.
All of the giveaways honestly kind of hooked me into the community, and I still remember that the first giveaway that I won was Fish Picks Sparrow's progressive pinning set, and he actually repinned it for me. But that started a bit of a relationship there, and that just encouraged me having back and forth conversations with him till he fell off of YouTube, which I know many people have, but it just showed me what great people there were. It gave me a specific point of connection, and honestly, seeing people like that just kind of encouraged me to do better, to do what I can to give back to the community, to share with people that are trying to learn both on YouTube, and I'm mostly active in the Facebook groups and trying to share whatever I can when I see people asking questions there too.
Okay. Amen to that. I couldn't agree with you more. That's one of the primary focuses of my channel as well. Um, so you talked a little bit about hashtags and Habitat for Humanity restore.
Yes. Um, especially in my poor man's picking ventures, um, about a year, no, 2 years ago, I ventured into my local Habitat for Humanity restore and found out that they were junking all of the old locks that they were getting, especially if they didn't have keys or they didn't have all the parts. And I made some friends there, and they started letting me have the locks for free. And I brought back the rest of the scraps after getting the cores out and let them keep scrapping. And from that, I've always encouraged people to check out Habitat for Humanity Restore. Some are better than others, but you can usually find a lot cheaper than buying new locks if you go there. And I know I was chatting with Evil Arch Conservative, who I noticed was also starting to hit that a lot. And so together we kind of chatted about it and created the hashtag. Um, I think it was Restore Lock Haul. It's been a while since I found anything worthwhile now that I've moved and I have a different restore. But I think it was
Yeah.
Restore Lock Haul because I that is the one thing that I will always give back to the community. Make friends with your local Habitat for Humanity restore. You never know what you might find.
Yeah, that's what I found quite interesting myself. The restore near us, when they do have something, usually they have it way overpriced from what it's really worth. But having gone and visited down south family and gone to restores down there, oh wow, what a haul! Just tons of cylinders, kick cylinders, mortise cylinders, you name it, just a lot of them. And I think I walked off with 30 something cylinders for like $30. Some of them,
Hmm.
a lot of them with keys, some of them without. But yeah, that was a good that was a nice haul. Can't not gonna lie.
I found some nice antique ones there from time to time, things that I
Oh,
wouldn't find at my at like Walmart or Lowe's, like an old Yale.
oh wow, nice.
My first best SFIC is actually still in a doorknob, and I think I got that doorknob set for $3 with the best SFIC in it.
Wow, nice. Okay, so do you participate in the belt system?
Um, Informally, for me, because of my collection of hobbies, I limit my social media interaction, social media presence. Um, and so for that reason, I'm not really that active on Reddit or Discord or any of the other places that people are really using the belts. However, I did realize, and I think it was from some of the videos that the Lock Sportscast did on it, I realized how beneficial the belt system is as far as encouraging growth, kind of giving guidance of what locks are kind of the next steps.
Yeah.
And so I did. At one point, I started doing kind of a mini series about once a month or so as I was trying to work my way up through the belts. That said, there's been no progress on that for over a year and a half. I've got some locks that I've been working on. I can get them off camera. The quick set smart key
Yep.
is one that I can get it many times in a row, and then even without the camera on, it won't go. I've never been able to get that one. Um, I've had some progress with my SFICs, but not consistent enough to record it. So,
Yeah.
still keeping my fingers crossed in that. I also have the Illinois Duo padlock
Mm-hmm.
that has skunked me repeatedly. I am honestly foreseeing a video in my future where I show my specific one and ask for some advice. The keyway was definitely abused by people before me, and so I think
Ah,
my problem is tension, and I
okay.
don't have a key that goes with it. So,
Gotcha. All right. So you've mentioned all these hobbies. What are some of your other hobbies?
um, I also play music, about 20 different instruments that I mess around with.
Wow.
Anybody who watches my channel will also know that I enjoy fiber arts. I've been learning to spin yarn. I knit, I crochet, I nail bind, I carve, I sew. I honestly just try to learn a little bit of everything. Many people know the first part of the phrase "jack of all trade and masters of none,"
Yep.
but they don't know the rest of it, which is Jack of all trade, master of none is oftentimes better than master of one. And I try to live by that.
Yep. Hey, I can respect that. I'm very much the same way in that respect. So I did want to ask about challenge locks,
Hmm.
and what your involvement has been with them.
So As far as the making side, I have made one because I have moved past the blue belt, even though I was doing that informally. And I still kind of regret that one a little bit because I kind of did the least possible to get by. So I have been planning and plotting my next one or two challenge locks that I would like to make. And at least record some of how I do it because again, poor man's picking. I've got my
Yep.
unique unique ways to handle it.
Yep. So,
Now, as far as picking
yeah.
challenge locks, I've had about 5 or 6 that have come my way, and I've gotten opens on about half of them. I've got one in particular that has just never been any good for me, and I am there'll be a video coming out sometime in the next couple months from me where I'm going to be sending that one off somewhere else just because I can't get it at all. But I've got 3 or 4 kicking around right now that I've been working at little by little.
Awesome. All right. So, when we did our pre-interview, you were talking about how your daughter got into lockpicking.
Yes, my oldest is 7 right now, and
Wow.
she loves to see what daddy's doing and will always want to try it. And so I was excited the day that she finally saw me working on the locks, as I put it, because it feels dangerous to teach her that daddy picks locks. Don't want her going to school and spreading that one. Um, but she wanted to know if she could work on locks like me, and we worked on it for a little bit, and she was getting it. She's actually been in 2 of my videos so far, um, where I introduce Thing One, as I call her, and the return of Thing One. She's actually not forgotten it because those videos are probably coming on close to a year old. And periodically, she has more times that she's wanting to try. She actually came up to me a couple months back because she found a paperclip and she said, "Daddy, do you think we could pick a lock with this?" I haven't done that one yet. I know a lot of people have picked locks with paper clips, but I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah.
So I told her we're gonna have to try that at some point.
Yeah.
Haven't done it yet, but at some point she's gonna come back and help me test some lock picks made from paper clips at the very least.
Okay. That's awesome. I have two teenagers and I wish they would show any interest in it whatsoever. I've even gutted a lock in front of them to show them how it works. And yeah, they weren't as impressed as they were with the screens on their devices, I guess. So that's the way it goes sometimes.
Start them young and hope to keep them hooked.
Yeah, didn't get into this soon enough, I guess. All right, so here's a funny thing. So you mentioned something about watching videos while you're doing the dishes.
Yes. So I am an old school fellow, and by choice, I don't have a smartphone. I use a flip phone, which means that my time to catch up on my YouTube, especially the plethora of YouTube channels that I follow that are locksport focused, um, and especially with working, being married, having kids, there's not a lot of free time to just sit down and watch videos. So for me, the best time to catch up on my YouTube viewing is while I wash the dishes. I have the computer over to the side, out of the splash zone, and I just work my way through the playlist, being able to keep half an eye on what's going on, learn some little tricks here and there. Sometimes got to dry off my hands in order to comment when I'm noticing something that I'd want to say for the video, but doing dishes has been the best time for watching YouTube for me. Unfortunately, lately, my wife's been really helpful, and she's been doing the dishes for us. However, that means that I'm really falling behind on my Locksport viewing. I'm trying to find some other pockets of time here and there. But she doesn't understand why I'm not always grateful for her help with the chore there.
That's funny. Said, but how else am I supposed to watch my videos?
Yeah.
All right. Last question before we wrap up. What do you do for a living?
I am a math teacher. Right now, I'm teaching high school geometry, but the uh, the teaching aspect is honestly a large part of why I got into YouTube. It took me a long time after I graduated college to realize I wanted to be a teacher, and I actually kind of came in through a back door to become a teacher. But I realized it's just part of my personality, which is honestly part of why I started the YouTube channel, so I could teach people whatever I can share with them. It was why I taught a friend of mine in the living room that actually led to my first video of sharing my excitement of being able to teach people. It's just part of my personality, always trying to share, always trying to teach.
Awesome. So, is there anything you'd like to say to our audience before we wrap up?
I would just say if you haven't gotten into an interview yet, go for it. I know that the Lockpicker 1969 often says it that everybody has something to share. Everyone has something interesting to contribute. Um, I don't feel like anything special myself, but I hope that you found something interesting in the video here and hope that you'll try it yourself.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right. Well, with that, I want to thank you for this interview. And I think you might have said to me that you didn't think there was anything for you to talk about, and I think we definitely found things to talk about, didn't we?
Yes, indeed.
All right. If again, thank you for this interview. This has been great. If you are a subscriber, thank you. If you are not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, hit like on the video, and turn on notifications and all so that you can be made aware of new content like this and the interviews, the giveaways, as well as the drawings for those giveaways. And I want to thank you for watching and listening. Bye bye.